Hey everyone, just wanted to do a video on why your old snowmobile could be bogging. This is a 1980 Enticer 340. It wasn't bogging, but I'm going to give you some examples of what can cause this. So obviously the first thing can be a dirty carburetor. Lots of videos on YouTube on how to clean them. Old gas. Um, Another thing can be your crank seals in your engine. They are located on the crankshaft, one on each end. There's one in the middle too between each cylinder, but you can't service that one necessarily yourself. So where the tip of my screwdriver is, there's a little hole there. You might be able to spray some brake cleaner or ether down in there. And if your engine revs up, you probably have a crankshaft seal problem. Just make sure that your spray isn't somehow getting back to the carburetor inlet. Sometimes that can happen if you get the spray kind of going the wrong way. So there's another seal. It's down in here between the primary inner sheave and the crankcase. So again, it's kind of a hard spot to get your carb cleaner, spray, or your brake clean or ether, whatever you're going to use, down in there, but you can try it. I haven't had a lot of success with that. It works a lot better on intake leaks on vehicles and stuff, but chances are if you're working on an old snowmobile like this one, it likely needs crank seals anyway. So if you are tearing it down because it blew up one side, or if it blew up at all, it's a good idea to replace them so you don't get into the same thing again. But another thing that can cause a snowmobile to bog is the carb boot, which is between the carburetor, which would be here. I just have it pulled off right now, and the intake. It's just a little rubber boot, and it's prone to cracking over time like anything made of rubber. When you change this, these are lock tabs, so you have to pound these back, one on each side, to spin your bolts out. They're 12 millimeter. You probably need a 12 mil quarter drive deep socket, or a socket and an extension. These little tabs here keep this little washer plate from spinning, so you want to make sure that they're in good shape too. But you need to peen these lock tabs back over once you've got your new carb boot on, because when I went to change this carb boot, the bolts were pretty much finger tight. You don't want these bolts super tight. That's why they have this lock tab in the first place. But you you don't want these bolts coming loose, because if your intake gets loose and you start into a lean condition, you could pop your engine or whatever. But this carburetor boot is an SPI. It is part number 07-102-01, and I do not recommend buying this. I got it from Royal Distributing, as you can see, and once I got it on, I thought when I shone my trouble light close, right in around here, that I could see light in between here, and I was able to shove a 10 mil feeler gauge down in between this aluminum plate and the carb boot itself. I don't have those bolts super tight. They are maybe 40 inch-pounds, 50 inch-pounds. They're not tight. It's not like I'm warping it because they're over tightened. I've put tons of these on, and I don't know, you might even be able to see it. It's pretty hard to tell, but I pulled this aluminum plate off and I cleaned in behind really well. Used some brake clean on a rag. There was a bit of corrosion on there, and then I used some Permatex Right Stuff sealer, just a little, made a little nice little circle, not a very big bead. You don't want a whole bunch of that stuff on there because it'll eventually end up in your crankcase and going through your engine. So just a very minute bead that you can smooth out with your finger. Yeah, you don't want a whole lot of that stuff. But anyways, I guess I'm going to have to order the Yamaha Carb boot. This one was $22, I think. The Yamaha one is $84, so it's more money, but it's going to work better. I knew that I shouldn't have bought this, but I did anyways because I had to go to Royal to get a bunch of other stuff. And for the most part, their parts are pretty good, but this is definitely not the best piece. So anyways, that's pretty well the video. There's lots of problems that can cause bogging, especially if your machine is getting hot for some reason. You could have a problem in your track drive system. If you have a problem with one of your wheels or your sliders, there's lots of things. If you have no oil in your chain case, that can cause you problems, or just jetted wrong. There's tons of stuff that can cause bogging, but usually in an old snowmobile it's the crank seals or the carb boot, or it's just a dirty carburetor. So anyways, hopefully this video helped you, and if it did, hit the like button, or like it anyways, and subscribe if you want. Thanks for watching.